to Conversations at Colors. My name is Diane Lesely, and today I have Pamela and DeBreea, and we are here. These wonderful, fabulous Black women are here to have a conversation. Join us. So we're here, we're talking about the encouragement of Black women. Mm-hmm. And that leads me to talk about sisterhood. What's your definition of sisterhood?
Sisterhood is where we are.
Mm-hmm.
I can find sisterhood standing in the line at the supermarket. I can find sisterhood at the library. Anywhere I go, there is this connection that has always been there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And what it is for me is looking a woman in the eye, and you immediately have that nod of "I see you."
Yeah.
I see you. I know you.
Yeah. I love that. And on a personal level, it's like validating you. I love that you said, I see you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a camaraderie between women, like-mindedness, and valuing the beauty at face value. Like, you can be exactly who you want to be.
Yes.
And I love you, girl.
Yes.
That's enough.
And do you have any examples of intentional sisterhood? Like, one thing I think about is how Ava DuVernay had all of those women directors direct Queen Sugar, episodes of Queen Sugar, setting them off after that into paths of success.
Yeah.
And that's, again, saying I'm one of many.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so you saying personally, how do I use sisterhood?
Yeah.
Or, you know, I consider myself a networker.
Mm-hmm.
And I have friends who are the same way. So if something happens, they call me, I call someone else, I let them know. We send a text, an email. You know, Diane and I do that a lot. If something's happening, we're going to let you know. Or if something's happening for children, that comes through an email or a text. The sisterhood circle is working from coast to coast and internationally.
Yeah.
And that's one way. Another way is sometimes I might be rolling around with my friend Ursula Rucker, and we might see, and I didn't know she was like this. We might see somebody, a sister on the street, wearing something or looking or so unique that we roll the window and say, "Girl, yes, I love your look," or
definitely
standing in your power, and we acknowledge it out loud.
Yeah.
And that feels good, and I know it makes my sister feel good.
Yeah.
Right.
And some intentional sisterhood that I'm a part of is like for work. I'm a part of organizations that highlights Black women and women in the profession. So as a speech therapist, it's 2% of Black women in the profession.
Wow.
So being a part of an organization that all I see are Black women, it's just like so purposeful and intentional. And just being able to make those connections and that networking and have the support. Am I doing the right thing? Am I making the right clinical judgment? And hearing that input from a Black woman.
Yes.
So just getting their perspective, because it's a similar experience, that Black experience, which is important.
It's a safe space.
It's a safe space, yeah.
Because they're going to tell you the truth.
Yes.
Right.
You know, and raise you up at the same time, praise you at the same time, you know. Yeah, because you got to have that. Sure.
Off camera, I was talking to DeBreea Diane about her work as a lactician. And I was saying that that's something Black women, you know, we birth babies from the beginning. And so we taught women how important it was to bond. And that is a part of the sisterhood you hold up as well. That history of, you know, that work. And I want to say thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, it's only 2%.
Absolutely
are.
So how did you get this way? How did you become this nurturer? How did you become, you know, a woman who sees other Black women and you want to give them positive feedback? How did you get there?
Wow. I remember being the only Black woman in the room.
Woo!
And it's like, wow, like, who is going to tell me to keep going? Who is going to tell me to keep pushing? And I just said, I don't want any other Black woman to feel like this on their journey. So that's how I got my foot in. So even being able to mentor women in the profession or just mentor Black women even back in college, we created an organization called Queens because we went to a predominantly white institution, to a PWI, and we were few in between. And so we created an organization to support the queens on campus.
Don't we always?
And it's like, sis, you don't have to be alone. I'm right here
Right.
with you every step of the way.
Right.
And so that's how I started it. And also like the foundation of my mom, my sisters,
That's it.
my aunts, my grandmothers,
Mhm.
seeing how they got together, interacted, laughed, cried,
Yes.
and healed one another from just being in the space and around Black women.
Yes.
So, you know, that's just like what's going through my veins, like being
Mhm.
Black and being in a great space with other Black women.
Yeah. I have to say, you sound like you were surrounded by real nurturers. Diane was saying, who nurtured you? Your mother was a nurturer.
Mhm.
And as a young woman, you're nurturing other young women
Yeah.
to understand that connection, that we need that energy to be present in the way we raise our
Yeah.
children. And for me, Leslie, Diane, my mother nurtured me,
Mhm.
and my mother's friends nurtured me. And as I got older, I gravitated to older women who nurtured me. I
Yeah.
remember sitting in my Solitude bookstore, which was owned by a Black woman in Germantown with New Jerry Wills, and meeting other women who came in and they taught me history and
Yes.
introduced me to authors I didn't know about.
Yes.
And so that's who nurtured me. While my mother might have been struggling a little bit
Right.
and never missed a step with me,
Mhm.
there were other women that picked me up.
Yeah.
Filled in those gaps.
Filled in the gaps.
Yeah.
Always.
Taught me how to be a sister.
Love
Yes.
that.
I know. And growing up, you had those women, as you said, who were in the community who assisted your mother and your father, in raising you.
Yeah.
That's missing these days. And with the social media, I'm concerned that, are the younger women getting as nurtured as we were? With this other, it is artificial, and so how do we continue to like encourage and nurture younger women, like we were?
Yeah. And I think with social media too, it's like Pandora's box. And it's so many things you have access to, and a lot of it is not the reality, Social media is the snapshot, this like quick flick of what somebody's life looks like. And I think a lot of people like that I follow on social media, they're trying to show up more authentically and start to show the struggles and start to show like where they have challenges in their life.
Yes.
But beyond that, before that, it was just a lot of perfection. And it was a lot of things that didn't seem attainable in this lifetime for yourself,
Yeah.
And also, like a lot of Black women, on social media are not only comparing the way that they look, but am I where I'm supposed to be with my career or my love life? And it's just so many things that we are already battling internally, and then social media as this other level of, am I enough?
Yes.
And a lot of people talk a lot about the mental health and how they're struggling in that aspect as well because of social media. But I think just starting to set some boundaries of how much time you spend there on social media, and also being very intentional about what your real life looks like, and trying to stay away from that, and just building a life with space with women in real time, like this. Like when do we? How often do you get to sit around a table and just talk and connect? And I look at you and I feel your energy. Versus social media, you're just looking at the screen, and it's like, wow, I'm not doing that. Am I enough? I'm not there. Is my life what it's supposed to be?
I have to say, I hear a lot of that from young women in their 20s. I have a daughter in her 20s. And they're talking they're doing comparison living. I don't have this, she has that. Now, granted, social media has showed how young folks, especially young women, have become their own boss, which is wonderful.
Right.
But the other part of it is that is their lane. They excelled in. And if social media becomes less of a space for bragging and more of a space for learning and encouraging, then it'd be
viable.
different for young women in their 20s and 30s to realize that, I'm happy for you. who am I in real time?
Right.
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 Who am I in real time? And really, real time is where
Where we
I
are.
live in.
Mhm.
You know, and for an instant, I began to feel the nudge of what social media was doing, and then I was like, oh no,
Yeah.
I know who I am. It's
Right.
really
Right.
good to say I stand in my space. I know who I am, and
Mhm.
I'm okay
Yes.
with being who I am. And social media, it has its good points.
It
does.
It has its good points.
It can be used for good.
It
It
does,
can.
yes.
I agree.
I've learned a lot about vegan cooking.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Black women out there who are creating spaces for us to talk about sexuality and
Yeah.
love, and
Yeah.
I gravitate to those types of things.
Right,
Yes.
me too.
Same.
The positive aspects, you
Mhm.
know, where people are talking, oh, it's my birthday. Oh, it's an anniversary. Oh, I'm doing this. And I like seeing those things.
Yeah,
You know.
Yeah.
celebrating people.
Yeah, celebrating people. And as a teacher, you get to see, you know, where your ex-students are right now.
Yeah.
You know. And I often thought, you know, like I guess pretty much you and I, Pamela, have taught young people, and I'm sure you have too. But you know, since we are, shall I say, in our 60s?
No, you can't.
Okay, only me.
No. This is my birthday, sister, so we
Yes,
can say it.
right. But it's just one of the things that I love about social media is being able to see what those former students are doing now, and also it's gotten to a point that you know some of the women who I've taught are now teaching me. For
Wow.
example, I take Pilates, and a former student
I'm
teaches
coming with you to
Pilates.
Pilates.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's just a
Wonderful.
cyclical,
Yeah.
you know, if, you know, nurturing Black women has that cyclical thing happening, it's the just most beautiful thing.
Yeah,
Love
it
that.
is.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah,
that.
and that's what sister motherhood does. Because whether you've had children or not, you came to this earth with eggs, and that makes you a nurturer.
Yeah.
You're going to raise somebody up.
Love it.
You know.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sure you do.
I
But
do.
Diane has raised up so many women, young girls, to womanhood, and it's important that they come back and
It
say,
is. You
"Look,
know.
how'd I do, Mom?"
Right. There's that, and then
yeah.
there's, well, you said, you know,
Yeah.
so let me see you do,
Right.
you know, so it just keeps you up, alive, and
Yeah.
active, and, you know,
and you feel
regenerates
pride.
you. Yes, and you feel
Yeah.
pride. Yes. Yep. So who in your life specifically, is there like one person who did that for you? You know,
I don't think it
There's
would
so
be
many.
fair just to say one.
I know, but I'm going to ask you.
Just for one.
For right now.
I know. I'm going to always go with my mom,
Mm-hmm.
the one that brought me earthside.
Okay.
I just love her so much. She is just so divine in many ways. She's a woman of God.
Mm-hmm.
She's a praying mother.
Mm.
She's a loving mother, an understanding mother, and she's resilient in so many
Yes.
ways. And I'm just so grateful for all of her teachings. You know, that one Bible verse that just says, "You're fearfully and wonderfully made."
Yeah.
My mom has been saying that to me since I was born.
Wow.
And that's like engraved in me. When I feel low, when I feel sad, when I'm unsure, it's just like, you are
Yes.
fearfully and wonderfully made.
Wow.
And, you know, a lot of the things that she has taught myself and my siblings, my brothers always say, "You remind me of Mom." And so I remember at one point, I was trying not to be like my mother at all.
Right.
But now I'm like, ooh, I want to be just like you.
Yes.
You know, she's my
Yes.
superhero. And just even to hear that from my brothers is a compliment that I remind them of her in any way. So
That's beautiful.
love her.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, what she said. It really is about my mother. I'm feeling very grateful in this life to have both my mother and my father still of sound mind, body, and spirit.
Wow.
And again, getting back to, as you said, a praying mother, a woman who has taught me at this age that no matter what, you have God, you have love, you have a spirit of encouragement that's beyond what we know, what we can see, read, or say. And my mother taught me that. And even though I learned that biblical quote in earnest when I was older, my mother instilled that into me.
Mm-hmm.
And I know one thing. My mother is an empath, and so am I.
Hmm.
And because of that, I had to learn to be courageous.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a little difficult. And I watched her be courageous. And because I watched her be courageous in her lifetime while I was young, I feel that it helped me become a better woman, even today,
Mm.
Wow.
to step out in my power
Yeah.
or to make change where it felt like, oh, don't be scared. No, your mother did it. You can do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I believe our young women are looking up to us. And in that, it's so weird. Can I tell you, I had a dream last night?
Yeah.
I was walking down the street. It's a sunny block, and I'm crossing a long four-way street.
Mm-hmm.
And I see a woman coming towards me. She's tall, like like head and shoulders above all the people walking her way. And she's walking towards me. She's a black woman, and she's smiling. And she stops me in the middle of the street, takes my shoulders, and she says, "Hello, beautiful. I'm so proud of you."
Oh.
I looked up at her, and there was this halo around her head. Right now, I'm just kind of getting
Yeah, it
tearful.
gave me chills.
And it gave me chills to, when I woke up, I thought about that because I felt this presence. And when you are connected to your motherhood,
Mm-hmm.
to the spirit of someone who mothered you well, you will be carried by your ancestors. And I believe that dream was my ancestor telling
Wow.
me, stay strong.
Mm.
And we would, and I encourage all women,
Mm-hmm.
all genders, to walk knowing someone was here before you.
Yes.
And it was a lot harder.
A lot harder.
And so get up
Woo. Yeah.
and say thank you.
Yeah.
And keep
That's-
moving,
Wow.
Yeah, that's interesting. You should say
Yeah.
that because a monologue. Hey, I want some of that. Oh, my hands are cold. You got some warm hands.
Yeah.
Cold
I
hands.
received that. I received it. Woo.
Yes.
Don't make me cry.
I know.
Yeah. I got eyeliner on, so.
You know it's Tarzan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I love Tarzan. I'm a Capricorn. We're compatible.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm
Yes.
Tarzan. Oh my goodness.
This is this monologue that I do when I've played Harriet Tubman, and at the end, she simply says, "Come on," and that's what I felt like because I felt like my grandmother says, "Come on, let's do this. Let's let's go. Let's not whatever is happening, whatever is wrong, whatever we're doing this,
Yeah.
and it's just those are those ancestors continuing to speak to us, so that we stay doing what we're here to do, and a lot of that is, you got encouraged, and so next is time to encourage, so who are you encouraging now?
Wow.
Well, I'm working with the justice involved community, and I have been for the last 12 years or more. And I'm meeting a lot of women coming home from prison who are meeting a lot of challenges, reunification with family, getting housing, getting a job with dignity, mental health. And I feel led really to support them most of all. And I'm really happy to say that I've created a family of women who are like my daughters, and I encourage them. If I can't do anything else, if I can't give you a number, if I can't, send you to the right place, I'm going to encourage you in this moment and this day to stay strong, stand on your faith and your strengths. And I ask all these women to always find out what your real strengths are, your personal strengths, and walk with that.
For me, it's my nieces. I have, oh my goodness, I love them so much. They're I have a 16-year-old niece. My oldest niece is 23, and then I have 2 preteen nieces. One's 11 and one's 12. Sorry, and they're just so wonderful. And when I see them, I'm like, wow, I remember when I thought I knew everything too.
Yes.
And it's just like trying to guide them, let them live, being able to talk to my siblings and say like, hey, you remember when you were there, okay? And being able to be that auntie for them, like, listen, give them some space, give them some grace. They're little people with big feelings and big emotions.
Yes.
And we're just here to help them.
Yes.
Here to help them navigate. But my oldest niece, I think the biggest blessing for me is to be able to support her financially. She is a trailblazer. She travels. She lives in Thailand right now.
All right.
My new best friend.
Yes, she lives in Thailand, and she's not afraid to leave and get a work visa and just go somewhere. So her next stop is Australia. She got a work visa for there, and just being able to support her when she's like, I just need money. And I'm like, I can do that. Don't come back home, So just being able to encourage her that way to continue to live her dreams. Because I know I've had, my oldest sister and my brother as well do that for me too, So just passing the torch, like, travel the world and see the world.
Stepping outside your comfort zone.
Yes.
As Black women, when we encourage other Black women to do that and young girls to do that, we're going to heal the world.
Yes. And that's that Black girl magic, don't you think?
Black woman magic. Girl
Well,
magic.
we also talked about they start somewhere. And we got to start them at the girl age.
And keep it going.
Knowing and feeling good about themselves and understanding that you have a support group here. We're here for you.
And I'm glad you said Black woman magic. And because as Black girl magic, that's wonderful. That's the yummy, youthful stuff where creativity thrives.
Yes.
But as Black woman magic, that means model the magic.
Yes. You're right.
Model what you're doing, what Diane is doing. Model your magic.
What you're doing
Thank
too.
you.
Yeah.
And I just want to encourage all the women to realize you have this incredible magic to be seen by young girls. They're watching you.
Yeah.
And like your nieces are watching you. And I don't care if you know them or not. Young girls are watching you women. And I'm asking you, be a woman.
Yeah.
The girl stuff is cute.
Yes. It has a limitation.
It has a limitation.
Yes.
It doesn't raise young girls to become better women.
Right.
It may stifle them if you aren't aware that there is a woman that is emerging from these girls. How do you model that? And that's what I believe Black women have to be more cognizant and aware of, and just be present. That I can sure wear the tight dress and the high heels and wear the all the stuff that you can see on the outside, which I believe that's what we are as Black women. We are adorners. We are. We love to adorn.
We are. Absolutely.
But the inside stuff is where the encouragement
needs to happen.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so too.
Yeah, we got Black woman magic here.
Yes.
And the girl inside of us is so happy.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a song that Sweet Honey in the Rock sings. There are no mirrors in my Nana's house.
You have to teach me that one, y'all.
Yeah.
Just a small riff, Diane.
Okay.
Teach me.
Oh, there are no mirrors in my Nana's house. No mirrors in my Nana's house. Yeah. And that's it. That's all.
All right.
But it talks about understanding your worth and your beauty without having to look at something, and which makes you kind of compare yourself to something. Understanding your beauty, that your grandmothers understood your beauty, your worth, your intelligence, without there being anything watching you. It's a great song. It's a great song, and it just fills me right now.
Beyond that mirror, what I'm learning more than ever right now, Diane,
Mhm.
is how powerful kindness and forgiveness is.
Ah.
Wow.
How powerful that is.
Yeah.
That if you, it will take you so many places. It will make you rich beyond measure.
Yes.
Mhm.
Kindness and forgiveness.
Yes.
Mhm.
And that's some inside stuff that makes me feel more of a woman.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
when I
Yes.
can forgive
Yes.
myself and others,
Right.
and I can be kind first
Yeah.
Ooh.
to
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
And that's a
others.
big lesson.
That's a big lesson.
I think that we
And I had
need
to forgive
be.
myself.
Right.
You know, I had
Mhm.
to so that I could live in love.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
didn't know what you know at this age.
Right.
And did I sound like, oh, no, but I'm so happy to hear
Yeah.
a young woman say,
Yes.
I understand forgiveness
So
and
encouraging.
self-forgiveness.
Yeah.
So encouraging. You know, so there are things that we think that women need to know regarding encouragement. What do you think those things are? You know, especially younger women, you know, that we see every day around us, walking down the street, things like that. You know,
What do they need to know about encouragement?
yeah, or themselves.
Well, I
No, it's-
think if I were to answer to know about encouragement, to know that encouragement is powerful and it's the umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
And what comes under encouragement is self awareness, self love,
Mm-hmm.
compassion,
Mhm.
empathy,
Mm-hmm.
to be a deep listener. I think encouragement
Is that
is
umbrella?
is an umbrella for what can I do for self that is so healing that I model it for someone who needs to be encouraged.
That's
I am
beautiful.
Yeah.
encouraged by
That is
both
beautiful.
of you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I look
Mhm.
at the both of you and hear the both of you, I feel
Mhm.
encouraged.
Yeah.
But to know that, wow, I have that self-awareness, to know this is someone beautiful, someone
Mhm.
kind, someone special,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that I am special too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think it's really important to know that encouragement starts internally, the way that
Mhm.
you're describing it. And there's some ways that you can actively practice that,
Yes.
you know, affirmations in the morning, you
Mhm,
know,
mhm.
I belong and I deserve to take up space. You know,
Yes.
that's
Yes.
my one that I say the first one I say in the morning, because sometimes I feel myself wanting to be small. And why do you want to be small when you're a Black girl? Like, why do you want to do that?
Right.
You know, you can't do that. You can't do that.
Right.
So, you know, just really encouraging women, Black women especially, to take up space.
Yeah.
And knowing that taking up space, just as you are, in a healed space where you have forgiven yourself, you're loving yourself, and showing up authentically as that is the best thing that you can do, the best way you can encourage yourself and others.
Right. Because I think sometimes they feel that, you know, if they show who they are, then they're vulnerable, you know.
And there's
And
nothing
that-
wrong with that.
There's
nothing
nothing
wrong with that
wrong with
either.
vulnerability.
But it is
No.
in our Black space sometimes.
Right. We feel we gotta.
Right.
Yeah.
If
You
I'm
know.
vulnerable, I'm weak.
Right.
But
Right.
I love the idea that Colors, the organization, brought us together in a safe space.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's what they create, a safe space for people to stand in their power and not be afraid to be vulnerable,
Yes.
you know. And I think that if we can create more spaces and take and learn from this organization, and that we can do that,
Yes.
we're going to do better with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not over. We got work to do.
We got work to
It's
do.
good work. Good
Good
trouble.
work. Yes.
We got work to do.
Yes. Good trouble.
Yes.
And we're going to continue to do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is there anything else? Like, what do you do to encourage yourself? What's one thing you do to encourage yourself?
I get a massage and I rest.
Yes.
Power to the rest.
Yes.
Yep. That's how I do it. That's all I got.
I
Pin
know,
drop.
eyes closed.
You know, drop the mic.
Drop
You
the
know,
mic. That's what it is. And you know what? I don't feel guilty anymore for stating one day. I said, you know what? I'm not getting out of bed today.
Yes.
I rest is revolutionary.
Yes.
And do it with a massage.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, do
'Cause,
it
you
with
know,
Netflix and chill.
Yes. We used to say, gotta get up, gotta do this, gotta do that, gotta do
We
you
come
know?
from that generation.
Yes, we do.
Mhm.
We do.
And you do too. I mean,
And I had to
you
say,
all are
nope.
the hustle generation.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I'm resting.
Mhm.
That's right.
And they say, nope.
And there was something
Don't do that.
in the news lately that says that your rest has everything to do with your longevity.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you're not resting, you know.
you may be permanently resting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nothing to
Taking
laugh
a dirt
about.
nap.
That's
You know.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Okay. Well, it was so wonderful. I feel
Good.
full.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
talking with
I
the
feel
two
so
of you, and
good.
now we must take our essence and and spread it around a little
Yes.
bit. And we just want to thank you so much for being here and listening. Thank you.